there we go. There's our 30-second deep breath before we went live here.
We're
ready. Well, it is 1 minute after 6 o'clock on April 8th, and we are live on YouTube and X and LinkedIn and a few other social media platforms. We are also recording this, so Angie and I are going to have a great little marketing piece here to post to YouTube and help some buyers, right? We're going to be able to help some buyers and sellers, for that matter, who are looking to sell a home, move up to a new home. And there's many things we're going to discuss today. So this is going to be kind of a laid back discussion amongst friends. Angie and I have known each other a while. Our companies have been partners for many years. I've actually known Ty, her broker, and been partners with them for well over 10 years at this point. It's starting to age us a little. I don't like that. I don't like that part, but happy to jump on here with you tonight and go from there. And basically, I think the way we do this is, like you said, we'll have a conversation back and forth here. If we do have anyone that jumps on the chat, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. If not, no big deal. There might be some other folks on some other platforms chiming in, and we'll try to keep up with those as well. But with that being said, I am going to add kind of a PowerPoint presentation that we created to the live stream here, and we'll just flip through it and kind of talk through each slide and go from there, see where it takes us. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Perfect. Well, let me switch this up here. And let's add this to the stage. There we go. Look at this. It's like I almost know what I'm doing here.
Technology.
The first time I did this, it was a little touch and go. I had the wrong formats and the wrong screens, and Alec and Chris were on. They couldn't talk, and I couldn't unmute them. So we're good. We're good now. So. It does say we have, some 3 people watching us on my X page on Twitter there as well. So we've got some viewers chiming in here a little bit. So let's go. So we'll kick this off. So basically what we're going to talk about today is, do you want a larger home? Well, this is how you move up, right? We're going to call it a move up buyer webinar, seminar, whatever you want to call it. Presented by yours truly, Rob Ross with Intercoastal Mortgage. And Angie, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. My name is Angie Delboy. I'm a real estate professional in Northern Virginia for the last 20 years, as far as aging us. So yeah.
There you go. And we will we'll go into a few slides here. So let me see. Perfect. So Angie, tell us a little bit more about yourself here on this slide, and then I'll jump into the next one.
Absolutely. All right. So it's hard for me to talk about myself, but I served on the board of directors for Virginia Realtors for a few years, and we had Shark Tank Dave and John come down as a speaker a few years ago. So that's where this picture is from. I'm also a wife and a dog mom. And yes, this has been my career, helping guide home buyers and home sellers for the last couple decades. Born and raised in Northern Virginia.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. That's a good thing to do. Dog mom, I'm with you there. I've been around cats before, but I prefer my dog. I don't know. Some people have both. I don't know how that works. And you're a Caps fan, so very, very excited to see Ovi break the record, so we can address that here. So
we cheered loudly. We were in the stadium. It was great.
There you go. So about Rob. Much like Angie, I'm over 20 years in the mortgage industry. It's my passion. It's what I've done for a long time. It's really the only thing I know. If I had to start a new career, I don't know what I would do. So I'll be honest. I live, sleep, and breathe mortgage, and that's why I'm here today. Proud dad of Emmy and Robbie. That picture's last April when I had him down at Disney. So the Magic Kingdom, even as an adult, I still love it. But it's kind of crazy. Robbie's grown about 6 inches since then. So he's close to my height now. So it's looking eye level. Got in the business in 2000. I have $2 billion in career closings. So we've 5,000 plus loans closed at this point. So there's really not many scenarios I haven't witnessed or seen. which gives me a good expertise on being able to help navigate almost any situation. I did serve on the mortgage bankers as a board member, the MBA from 2020 to 2022. The Ross Group and my team has been in the top 1% nationwide since 2001. Robbie is 16. He is driving a car, very scary. And Emmy, my daughter, is 12. And I'm from West Virginia. I moved to Northern Virginia about 25 years ago now. So Virginia is home. I have officially lived in Virginia 25 years and in West Virginia less than that. So I've been here a majority of my life now. When I have time, I do like to play basketball, go skiing. I'm avid sports collector. I have poker on there still, but I haven't played poker in years. So I think I need to find some time. Angie, do you want to jump back in here?
Absolutely. So one of the reasons that we wanted to get together is we wanted you to know that you could rely on the two of us to be kind of your partners through kind of a research phase, a what if phase. I want to let you know that, yes, I'd love a phone call, text, email when you're ready to go. But by all means, don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us, Rob or myself, if you're in that what if. What if I do this? What is it going to look like? Because Rob and his team are super excellent at doing like scenarios. So they can give you like A, B, C scenario, and you can what if and like really drill it down to what does that look like with numbers. Because we think that it's really important that your priorities matter. So you heard us talk a little bit about ourselves. I think it's really important for you to kind of do a deep dive on yourself and what are some of your priorities. Is it time to kind of that you've had that big house and you need to downsize? And that would be a move up for you because you're like right sizing what you want and you can still sell that home and get a great price on the market and maybe get a cute place for you, a cute condo for you, and a cute beach house. I don't know, but they do loans in all sorts of states, so they could totally hook you up. Yep. Or like, do you have a new baby or a new dog, or you want a pool and you need extra space? So what are those priorities that help you in your lifestyle? I think that's really important for you to kind of, jot some notes down on and figure that out. Because right now, since you guys are homeowners and you're looking at moving up, you have extra options and extra opportunities that you did not necessarily when you were being that first time buyer. So look at that lifestyle. Our backyard's important for the kids and the dogs. Or maybe you want to be like walking distance to a town center or trails. So look at those different things. And outside of that, I would say, are there any dates that are important? Births, weddings, school years, those kind of things as well. So.
Those are all really, really good points. And it's kind of funny because those are the points I typically don't talk about on the lending side, right? So I'm more focused on the numbers, but it's so true. Like the photo says it all. Like when you move into your first home or even your second home or third home, your priorities do change, right? It's being near that town center, right? Or your kids are getting older. Maybe if you have kids, like I just said, my Robbie's 16, so my son's going to college in a year and a half, right? So do I want to downsize then? I probably don't want to upsize. It's just my daughter and I at that point, right? What do I want to do? Do I want to buy a second home near wherever he goes to college to visit? Maybe he lives there and it's my second home and then I have a place to come visit. So all those things to think about because boy, you just struck something with me, Angie, where it's like, you think you have it figured out when you move in and how quickly those priorities can change. It's like you almost move in thinking, I'm set for 5 years. And all of a sudden a year and a half in, you're like, I already need X, whatever that is, a garage or the backyard, or man, I have this dog and it can't run anywhere because I did not fence. My HOA won't allow me to fence in my yard. I've had that experience before. Right. So it's like, all very good things here. So, but I'll turn it back over to you here.
Perfect. Well, yeah. So I just want you to think about that. You have a cool new piece that you didn't have the first time. You have equity, which is at that top of that triangle. You have equity And then as a base under that is upgrading your lifestyle. And that's all going to be on the basis of you being a homeowner right now and a homeowner in the future. So what is kind of upgrading that lifestyle on top of your home ownership and equity look like? So Rob, question with equity, like sometimes I've had people that I work with and they've only been a homeowner a few years. So they use all their equity to get into that, that first move up place, right? Like
Yep.
they're still probably young. And sometimes we work with people that have maybe lived in that house 15 years, like a long time.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of equity. Let's call more than 50,000. A lot of equity. Do
Sure.
you find that everyone needs to put all their equity into the next home, or that they can kind of maybe use part of that equity for the next home and part of that equity for college fund, car fund, vacation fund? What happens? What do you do?
Yeah. So the fun answer is yes to all of the above. And I'll click through this next slide here. And obviously, Angie, tell me to go back or forth if you need me to go
Yeah.
back. But timing, priorities, and equity, right? So sorry, let me make sure I have the right one here. So just talking through this, and we'll kind of ignore this slide right now as I'm answering your question here. So um, every scenario is different, especially with a move up buyer, or let's not even call it a move. We'll call it a move up buyer, but it might be a move equal buyer, right? Maybe they're not moving up per se. Maybe they're, because you have all these scenarios. It could be moving from a $400,000 condo to a $500,000 townhome, right? It doesn't. That's still, you're still moving up. It could be moving from a condo to another condo where it's equal. You're still moving, but it could be kind of an equal price range. But you want to move because, like you said, your priorities are different. Your new condo allows pets, and you have a pet. Your previous one you couldn't, or whatever. Maybe there's some weird rules in the HOA or the condo docs or something, right? So maybe there's a reason you want to move. But when moving, you have different choices that you have to think about, right? So when you're moving to your new home, do you have a down payment in your current checking or savings account to put down on your new home? Have you saved money to do that? And let me say this, when you're moving to a new home, you don't have to put 20% down. That's one of the biggest misconceptions out there. Even if you're not a first-time home buyer, you can actually purchase. We live in what's called a high-cost area in the DC metro area, the DMV. And a high-cost area allows you to buy over $1 million in sales price with as little as 5% down payment. And I'll say that again. You can buy a little over $1 million sales price. You can get a loan of around 1.1 million with as little as 5% down. So that's crazy when you think about it. When I started this 20 years ago, that didn't exist. You couldn't get $1 million loan with 5% down, right? So you can now do that, even holding on to your existing home. Well, you might say, well, how do I do that? I don't qualify for the new home. Well, two things. One, if you want to sell your existing home and move, that's something you're going to want to talk to Angie about, because she's going to prepare something to talk about what your home's worth and all that good stuff, and she can talk about that. But you're either going to look at doing what's called a bridge loan against your existing home, which is giving you cash or equity out to put as a down payment on your new home, or you're going to have your own funds to put down, and that's if you qualify carrying the new home before selling the other home. If you don't qualify income-wise carrying the new home before selling the other home, then, or let's say you want to keep your current home. So Angie, I've met a lot of people recently that they want to buy a new home, but they want to keep their current home because they want an investment property. You can do that. So if you buy your new home and you want to keep your existing home, you just get a lease on your existing home. And we as a lender, when I say we, not me, Rob, or Intercoastal, but the lending industry guidelines are pretty standard across the US. We can use a lease that you get on your current home, 75% of that lease to offset your current payment. So you might be able to qualify for a new home, put your 5% down or more on your new home, and keep your existing home and use that lease to offset the debt. And all that means is debt to income ratio wise, you might qualify for a new home before selling an existing home. So I won't bore you anymore with kind of all the intricacies of how that works out. But I will just tell you that we do free loan pre-approvals, and clients call me all the time and say, Rob, I don't know if I'm ready to buy now. So I don't know if I should apply. I'm like, it's no harm, no foul. We do a soft credit check. Let me kind of think of a car analogy. Let me look under the hood and figure out what's going on and help you get the engine running and make sure it's working right. And we're gonna prep you and give you all the tools and all the knowledge you need to go sit with Angie and say, we know exactly what we can do now. We want to buy here. We want to buy in this month. We have to sell. We don't have to sell. We want to keep as a rental. We can do a bridge loan. We're going to give you all that knowledge to know exactly what you can do in your scenario. And I'm going to use my corny puzzle analogy that every client and every loan is a puzzle. It's my job. It's Angie's job. It's our job to help you put your puzzle together. And once your puzzle's together, you're going to know what you can do to buy a new home, right? So that's the answer. It's not one size fits all. That would make my job too easy, and it would make the clients in your job too easy. It's not one size fits all, but that's where your 20 plus years and my 20 plus years of expertise comes into play for these clients to say, you don't have to do this alone, right? You shouldn't do this alone. We're here to help you because you don't want to make the wrong choice. You don't want to just do what you think you should do. Work with the professionals that are going to help you, guide you that every step of the way. So that's kind of my roundabout long answer to your question.
I love that you brought up renting, because one thing that I did do in some posts to let people know that we're having this today is that we were going to be real. We are not just going to say that you need to buy the biggest, most expensive thing that you qualify for or anything like that. We want you to stay within your priorities, within your budget, and renting is definitely an option. So one of the things is that'll come into play when you're analyzing your numbers, right? So knowing what your priorities are, so that way we're making sure that the numbers get you there in a way that's still comfortable. And then we can kind of work through the larger plan. So moving week is one of those things in that plan. For some people, totally flexible, not even a question, like not a hard variable. For other people, it is a hard variable. So if it is, then we need to know that. Are we working around a school year? Is there a certain birth time that we need to be really mindful of? Oh my God, I talked to one of my neighbors. This was in the town when we lived in a townhouse. She was not my client. This was a neighbor. I met her after when she was walking her dog and her kid in a stroller, right? Yeah. And she said when she was moving in, she lay down at the top of the landing because she was like so pregnant and exhausted. So we want to kind of be mindful of those things. Yeah. And, not have everyone that exhausted. But in any case, are we working around like any specific dates? And if not, that's that much easier. But if we are, let's keep that in the forefront. So that way we know how to back off of that timeline, because they're going to need a few weeks to close a loan. We're going to need a few weeks to a few months to house hunt before that. So just to make sure that everything is fluid. So that's an answer that you get to tell us if there's some kind of moving week that is really important for you. And then the other thing on the same note, does the idea of moving cause so much anxiety that you really don't want to have to move twice? And you have a lot of equity, that could be like a great setup for the bridge loan. That could be a great setup for the bridge loan.
Absolutely.
Full calendar, just to kind of keep it in mind. Sometimes we're so busy that it's like, we only know what's happening this week and next week, but it's like, okay, maybe, we want to be mindful of August and the school year or holidays or whatever the case. But that's why that it's a good piece to like when we're talking one-on-one around the kitchen table. So,
no, you're right. And I was thinking school teachers, right? School teachers, like they want to do it during the summer because they have time, they're off, right? So everybody, kind of like I said, everybody's got their own reason, their own why, right? And and we got to help them do this. How about this one? Why lose money if I sell now?
We're going to keep it real.
Yeah.
I am not seeing people losing money if they sell now. And the MLS is the really large database where all of us enter information into, informations of the properties that are for sale, and then some data when they close, right? How many bedrooms, baths, etc. What price did it sell at? So very aggregate data, very direct data. And due to some posts that went wild at the beginning of 2025, they are now doing some weekly snapshots of the Metro DC area. And they go out a couple counties into Maryland, Virginia as well. So it's getting from Loudoun County into the district, including Fairfax, the district, Prince George's, Montgomery, Frederick, and Loudoun, is what this is of. So what we're finding, we're actually finding that it's taking a little bit longer to sell, but not by much, folks. We're talking like it may take 2 or 3 weeks, depending on price point. These are averages, right? So $3 million houses are taking months to sell, and condos are taking a couple days, but a lot of the prices are still holding. So I just wanted to share that this is fresh data, direct from the source. A lot of them are still holding. The median list price in that whole region is $650,000. And when we look at Fairfax County, it's $711,000.
Wow.
Okay. So we're not finding that people are losing money if they're selling right now.
Yeah. And just to add to what Angie's saying, I live in Loudoun County. I've lived in Fairfax County, right? I lived in Fairfax County for many years until 2011. I've been in Loudoun County since 2011. And the moment I see a sign go in any yard, it's gone by the next weekend. Like I know that's not always, but I'm telling you, there is no problem getting a home under contract in Loudoun County. Just speaking on, even if I wasn't in the industry and was just driving by, seeing these signs go up and down, it's competitive, right? These open houses, it's still competitive out there. And that's part of what, she has bolded here in this presentation is possible to buy before selling. And that's why I'm talking about competition, because I can tell you this, if you want to buy a new home, and you want a competitive advantage to be able to win, and I hate saying it this way, but like you said, keep it real, to be able to win the offer. If you try to do it without a real estate agent, it's going to be really hard. So I'm encouraging you to work with Angie and work with someone that knows what they're doing. Please do that. And I'll just be real. It makes my job easier. And I don't mind saying that here. I don't mind saying it for all of social media land to hear me say it. I've worked with plenty of clients through my career that come to me for a pre-approval, and they do not want to work with a real estate agent. That has happened. And let me make sure I'm clear on that. That's 1 out of 100. Okay. So 99 out of 100 work with real estate agents. The 1 out of 100 that comes to me, Angie, is not working with an agent, I will literally tell them, I'm like, listen, I'm going to tell you up front, you're going to ask me at some point advice on the real estate side or how to write a contract. And I'm going to tell you, I can't help you because it's illegal for me to. Like, I can't help you. Like, I'm a loan officer. I have an NMLS ID number, and I can't tell you how to write a contract. Like, you go work with a real estate agent. Right. So I'm saying that because it's very important. And in a competitive market, you have to have a strong offer. Right. And you need that real estate agent that has that wherewithal, that 21 years experience to be able to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do to win the deal. Otherwise, you're just kind of shooting a gun with blanks in it. Right. I don't know. It's not working. And who you work with matters. Right. It's your real estate agent, your lender. I can't tell you how many contracts we get through in Loudoun County and in the area where the listing agent on the other side knows my team because I've done it 24 years. And your deal might get put at the top of the pile when you have Angie and someone like myself working for you, right? Working with you, working for you
It
versus
is such an asset.
it's such an asset versus the
Mhm.
broker from Kansas City that or the discount agent that's not really giving you the value, or the let's say no agent, like I said, that's you have no one in your corner, right? And then you have a lender out of the Midwest that has no idea what's happening here in the Northern Virginia area or the DC market, and they're just not able to help you. So um, it's very important. So yes, it's to address this bold comment here. It's possible to buy before selling, right? Absolutely possible, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But who you work with matters for sure. So.
Absolutely. The other questions that I hear a lot right now are how is the government layoffs affecting things? Because we're doing this right now. It's April in 2025. That is something that's happening. That's real news. I am not seeing a whole glut on the market, nor the numbers. So when I say I mean that I am leaning on numbers, not just intuition and meditation. So we are seeing an increase in homes on the market, but there has been a need, there has been an ask from buyers for that. So although we're seeing an increase, they are still selling in a few days, a week or 2 weeks, right? It's not so much that then they're sitting around for like months and months. When that does happen, then that can change the whole market. That can, if we have a whole bunch of homes going on the market in 6 months, that can change things, that can possibly make prices go down. But right now, what we're seeing is we're seeing some houses go on the market. This is the spring market. There were 1,467 new purchase contracts last week.
How many?
That was the week ending April 6th.
How many?
So, I'm sorry?
How many again?
Just under 1,500, 1,467. And that was solid. Like with that, even though that was like 3% more than the week prior, which is that's all like, I feel like basically the same.
Yeah.
It was 17% higher than a year ago. But even though it was 17% higher than a year ago, when I look at the median list price, it's still 3% higher. So we're not seeing like price, crashes. So
Yeah.
So we are seeing that there is still like pent up need. There's still a lot of people that are like living in apartments, living with their friends or parents' basements. So there's still a need for that.
Yeah.
And then as far as like, so with next steps, we want to make sure that you know what your priorities are. And then the way that the two of us can work together, even though you may be thinking, oh, this may be a summer project. I promise you, if it's a summer or fall, if it's a 2025 project, please reach out to us now because we can help you analyze your equity. What that means is that I can go to your home and I can say, hey, what are you thinking? Do you want to compare keeping this as a rental or selling it? Let's look at it both ways. What would I suggest that you do that's going to help you increase your equity? There was one case recently where the people just did decide to invest about $20,000. I'm not saying that's low money, but they got a 200% return on it. We were able to sell it for $40,000 higher. So there are definitely key things that you can do. And on the same note, there have been times that I have met people, maybe about 4 years ago, I met someone, they were super proud of like some renovations they had done over the last couple of years. One spouse was waiting for the other one to retire. So the spouse that was already retired was like doing some homeowner special stuff, right? So they spent a lot of blood, sweat, dollars, but they didn't do it in a way that would appeal to the mass market. So it was all for naught. It was a lot of effort and dollars, and I was not able to raise the price. Whereas if you talk to us early, we can be really strategic and help you get more money on your sale or help you allocate things. If you want to keep it as a rental, I could easily say, don't do X, Y, and Z, but you know what? do everything that has to do with plumbing. You do not want a plumbing issue on a rental. So even though you don't even think about a sink, you may want to do a sink. Or you don't even think about a toilet, because like, who thinks about doing a toilet? So like certain things like that, I would actually suggest for a rental that I would not really especially suggest for a sale, because a new sink isn't really going to add value on your sale. And then there's a whole bunch of extra things. I'm not going to read out that list, but I just want to let you know that we want to go and let you know that we have a great team together and lots of information behind us, and we do more things as well. So we're not teaching you how to do our jobs today. We just want to share some high level information. You have a lot of options when you have equity, and we definitely work to get you best priority and timing to make your priorities happen within your budget and your timeline. A couple like little contracty things here. So we talked that one option is to keep a property as a rental. Another option is to do a contingent offer. That means, so this is something that I've heard a lot of people ask me when they talk to their parents or someone that lives in a different part of the country. So this does exist. It's not that it does not exist. I'm going to explain what it is. And that means that you're going to buy a new home. And in that, you're going to like one of the things that we write into the contract is, I need to sell my home. This is contingent on the sale of the home. That does not, that very 99% of the time does not fly in the Metro DC area. It's just too competitive. So I explained what it is, but I would not suggest that. Another one is to sell first, then buy. So what that means is that you would have a rent back, and it's very common. Most rent backs are for 6 to 8 weeks, which would allow you time after you go under contract to find that next home. Now, here's the thing. If you have like super high anxiety, or someone in your house does, and that like constriction may not sit well, and you have a lot of equity, that is definitely a time that I would strongly suggest that you consider a bridge loan. A lot of people do the rent back, but it's good to look at both options. So,
well, and to add to that, not to interrupt, but the sell first then buy, it's, if you could do the rent back, that's great. I've witnessed that a few more times recently, but even in that scenario, the clients still got to pre-approve for the bridge loan, because they might need the bridge loan regardless, right? Because they might do a purchase bridge loan to buy the home temporarily until the home sells. They might do a cash out bridge loan to take money. There's different structures, which I could teach a 1-hour class on bridge loans, so we won't go through that today, but just know that the way we do a bridge loan is unique, right? And if you take the statistic is not real, but let's just use it. But if you took 100 mortgage companies in the area, there's only about 3 to 4 that do bridge loans. And that's pretty accurate. I'm telling you, it's not a common product. But the way we do the bridge loan gives you the most flexibility, because we have 3 different structures in which we could do it. But like you said, the anxiety, if someone sells first and does the rent back, then all of a sudden they're like, well, what if they now feel rushed into buying a home that they really didn't want because they have a rent back? Now, let's say this, Angie, at the end of the day, let's say during the 7-week rent back that they still couldn't identify a home that they really wanted. Or let's say they found a home that they really wanted and they didn't win the offer, right? So now they're still sitting there going, I've got 3 weeks left, 2 weeks left, 1 week left, I'm out. So what are they going to have to do? They might have to go do a temporary. They might have to go do a temporary rental. They might have to live in a hotel for a month, right? What? Hopefully you have family and they don't mind you're in the basement, right? There's nothing worse than moving in. As I've heard a neighbor say before, they had to move in with their in-laws. Man, they bought a house quickly. They're like, we love our in-laws, but we can't live in the basement anymore. So
you want to keep loving the in-laws. So
yeah. Exactly. So it's so that makes for sometimes a challenging scenario. And again, that's the answer is different strokes, right? For different folks, you might be okay with this, you might not be okay with it, but you know, you have your sell first and rent back, right? We just talked about that, some of the drawbacks, right? We just went through some of that. Sell first, rent temporarily, right? As I click through these slides, that's something.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's more details. It's smaller font. If anyone wants like a quick, wants the details, please send one of us an email and we can get this to you so that you can have like the more details.
Yeah. To sell first and rent temporarily. I've had clients, Angie, that'll say, well, I want to do that because I don't want to pay the fees to do a bridge loan, because there's fees to do a bridge loan. Okay. They're not big fees. Okay. And they said, well, I don't want to do fees to do a bridge loan. So I'm just going to sell, and then I'm going to rent, and then I'm going to find the place. And I'm like, well, you're renting, so you're throwing money away in renting, and you're moving twice. So now you have 2 sets of moving fees. That's more expensive than the fee for the bridge loan. Or what if it's equal to the fee of the bridge loan? Or what if the bridge loan is a little bit more of a cost? I don't want to say expensive because it's not really expensive, but what if it costs a little bit more to do a bridge loan? That might be your sanity, right? That might be, as you said, that might be a pregnant wife sitting at the top of the stairs that can't walk down another flight of stairs, and their significant other needs to say, I'm not going to make you move twice. You're 8 months pregnant. Let's do a bridge loan, right? There's all these reasons. When someone asks, is there a fee for a bridge loan? I said, there is. And it's one word. I call it a convenience fee, because that is the fee for the product. And just to go a little off topic, a bridge loan is basically a home equity line, folks. That's what it is. And then I had a client yesterday say, well, why can't I just do a home equity line? And I said, real simple, go apply for a home equity line. And one of the first questions on your application is, do you plan on selling this home in the next 3 years? Yes or no? Well, the moment you check yes, they will deny you for the home equity line, because they want a home equity. And then the client did say, well, what if I just check yes and sold it anyways? I was like, I'm not going to answer that, but it should be your intent.
Fraud is what that is. That's the definition of fraud.
It could be fraud, and especially if you list it the next week, and you don't want to go down that road. So be honest about it. A bridge loan is a home equity line where we want you to pay it off as fast as you can. Okay, we don't want you to keep it for 3 years. In fact, a bridge loan is a 6-month loan, so we don't want you to keep it for 3 years. So, anyways, that's just a little story there. Brings us to the next slide here. Buy first, then sell with a bridge loan. And that's what we've been talking about. To give you an idea, bridge loan is 8.875 right now. And let me give you a little insight. So clients will call and say, Rob, I need a bridge loan. Great. What's the interest rate on it? The next statement out of my mouth. So if you're watching this or you're listening to this, you're already going to know what I'm going to tell you, because I'm teaching you right now. I'm going to say, do you care? And they're going to say, what do you mean? I'm like, do you care what the interest rate is on the bridge loan? They're like, well, yeah, I care. Or I don't know. Why are you asking me that? Because you're going to have it 42 days. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, so I've done this 24 years, and I've done bridge loans my entire 24 years. The average bridge loan at our company, and we do hundreds of millions a year in bridge loans. Our average bridge loan pays off in 42 days. 42 days. That's how long, because someone will move, and then Angie's listing your home and she's getting it under contract, and they're closed within 30 days, right? Your average bridge loan. I have clients that will obtain a bridge loan and they never make a payment on the bridge loan. They never make a monthly payment on the bridge loan because they've already moved and sold it and paid it off. It's already done, right? So a bridge loan is an interest-only monthly payment based on your outstanding balance. Well, the going market rate on, let's say, like a 30-year fixed mortgage is in the mid 6s, low 7s right now, kind of with the volatility we've seen, right? So call it between 6 and 7 is a 30-year fix. So a bridge loan's got an 8 in front of it. It's a little bit higher in rate. By the way, that's where a home equity line is. A home equity line is prime plus 1 or prime plus 1.5. That means 8.5 to 9% to maybe 9.5, right? That's what it means. That's what prime plus means. So again, bridge loan rates don't matter. It's got an 8 in front of it. If I told you it was 32%, then we got an issue, right? But it's not. It's not a credit card at 21%. It's under 10%. and it's temporary, right? So that's the advantage to the bridge loan there.
So when you say temporary, is that what the rate would be for that person for those 42 days, that like month, 2 months?
Correct.
And then what happens after that? So they moved into their new home.
Yep.
They have sold. They moved first, got their new home, moved into that one first. Then I worked with them to sell, and they were super happy, and we sold it to set a top price for the neighborhood.
That's right.
This home is sold. They've moved into the new home. What happens to that bridge loan at that point? Does it stay at that 8.875%?
No, we're going to pay it off. So what happens at that point is we are going to convert that bridge loan from that temporary 6-month 8.875 home equity type-ish bridge loan, and we're going to convert that to your traditional 30-year fixed mortgage. Okay. You can convert it to a 15-year, you can convert it to a 20-year, you can convert it to a 5-1, a 7-1, a 10-1 ARM. You can convert it to an FHA loan. You can convert it to a VA loan if you're a veteran.
Ooh.
You get the picture. You can convert it to whatever you want. But most people are converting to like a 30-year fixed mortgage. So you're going to lower your rate at that point a couple percent, right, to where the going market rate is. But remember, Angie just sold your home and got you top price in the neighborhood. So you're still walking away with some more equity from that home you've sold, because we don't, on the bridge loan on the front end, we're not lending you 100% equity. No one does that, right? That's too high of a risk position for any lender. So we've given you some money out of it previously, but you're always going to walk away with more money. So at that point, once she sold your home, you're going to have a check in your hand. You can either say, Rob, I want to convert my bridge loan you helped me with into like a 30-year fixed, and I just want to convert that and keep my money and put it in the stock market, wherever, put it wherever you want to go to work. Buy a second home with Angie, buy an investment property, put it in the stock market, whatever you want to do. Or you could say, Rob, I've walked away with an extra 100 grand, 50 grand. I've still netted some money. I want to also throw that towards my mortgage. So we'll pay down your bridge loan and then convert you to a 30-year fixed, right? So the answer is, you can do whatever you want. And I love saying that about the bridge loan. It's all about you. It's all about the client. It's all about what makes you happy. Where do you want your payment? What do you want to do? That is the beauty. What did I call it before? It's a convenience fee, right? This bridge loan gives you all the flexibility in the world to kind of do what you want. So,
okay. So then at that point, it would be the market rate.
Yes. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. At that, it's the market rate. So you're not, that's why I said my favorite, and I say it every time when a client calls, hey, what's your rate on a bridge loan? I'm like, do you care? And they're like, and then they're like, what do you mean, do I care? So then I can go into my spiel that I've just given you. It doesn't really matter, right?
Nice.
But it would matter if it was 30%. It's not 30%. So you're in a good place there. The next slide that I've kind of popped over here is keep your current home as a rental. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. Benefits of that. You've got the rental income. It's nice. You're building your investment portfolio. The challenges with that, you got to ask yourself, you talked about this earlier, Angie, you got to ask yourself questions. Do you want to be a landlord, right? Do you want to manage tenants? Maybe you don't. Maybe you hire a property management company, which Angie could also direct you to, and I'm sure help you with. She's got tons of great referrals and sources for that. Do you want to do that, right? So, and then as a lender, we would factor in, if you do want to rent that or obtain a lease on it, we can factor in some of that rental income. So maybe you don't need a bridge loan. That's hence you're going to build your real estate portfolio that way. I've actually had clients, Angie, that buy a house, live in it for 1 year, move out and buy another house with 5% down as a primary, keep that current home as a rental. They'll live in their new home for a year. Not that you have to stay a year, but you should. I mean, most people stay a year. And then they'll do it again and again and again. I've actually had clients that have done 5 more. The most I've had was I had a client that bought 5 primary residences with me over a 7-year period, and they kept every single one as they moved out. So they built their real estate portfolio, right? And they're super happy, and now they're living off some residual income there. So
nice. I'm happy to kind of talk about some strategy with the rentals. That was a goal that we had before we purchased our single family. One of the goals that I had was to be able to keep the townhouse as a rental property while before as a contingency to move into a house. I did not want to move into a house unless we could afford to keep the townhouse.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to like kind of share some strategies of how I've been able to self-manage that.
Yeah.
I do like being in the same geographic space. So as long as that property is in Northern Virginia, I feel like that would count, and just do that in a pretty seamless way. So
Yeah.
happy to talk about that. Why don't you tell us about new construction?
Yeah, new construction's next. And just to give you kind of a little heads up, Angie, we have 3 slides after that. So we're for those of you watching, we're at the 45-minute mark. We promised to keep this under an hour, and we are going to do that. So we've got 3 to 4 slides left, and hopefully what you've heard so far is some valuable information for you. So the new construction. So you sell a lot of new construction, right? Through the years, you've sold plenty of new homes.
A fair amount.
And, so the new construction side, I can speak to some of that. New construction is a little bit of a benefit in some ways to you if you have a home to sell, because it gives you more time, right? You might walk in with Angie on a weekend and go look at a new community being built, or a condo, or a townhome or single family home community. And you walk into a sales center, typically. Sometimes it's a trailer, sometimes it's a model home, but you walk in and, you talk about buying one of those properties, and they're going to say, hey, this is great. Here's the lots available. Here's what we can sell you. And here's when it's going to deliver. When I say deliver, it means when is that home going to be ready for you to get those keys and move in? Mm-hmm. And they might say 5 months. Well, you're still going to write that contract with Angie. You're still going to get under contract for it. But now you have 5 months to line up the timing to either obtain a bridge loan or line up a rent back, or line up selling your home first and buying. All the things we've talked about. Let me just leave it as that. We've talked about 4 or 5 different strategies. It's a different scenario when you're buying new construction and you have 5 months to think about those strategies. You don't have 5 minutes because you just ratified a resale and you're closing in 19 days, right? That's a little more stressful. That's where a bridge loan becomes a little bit more of a necessity in some cases. With new construction, you do have more time to take a deep breath, meditate, we'll use that word again, and think about and strategize a little bit more. So, but those are all things that you'll do, but plenty of considerations. There's still plenty of new construction, especially, as I mentioned, I'm in Loudoun County, tons of new construction in Loudoun County too. So that's one thing. Financial planning and market considerations, right? That middle acronym right there, that DTI, that debt to income. There are buyers that will say, Rob, I don't want a bridge loan, or I don't want to sell my home first, or I don't want to rent here's what I don't want to do. Well, my favorite conversation is when I can say, great, you don't have to, right? And here's what we're going to do for you. There is the occasional scenario where I say, I know you don't want to do a bridge loan, or I know you don't want to do this, but you have to pick, right? Because there are scenarios where we have to be real with you and say you don't qualify doing what you want to do. Okay. Sometimes I have to have those hard conversations with clients. They're not that hard when I'm like, but here's your solution. Here's what we can do for you. Here, we're going to meet you halfway, or we're going to meet you 75% of the way. And then the clients get excited about it. That debt to income ratio is, I would say that's the biggest one. Most people nationwide cannot afford to own 2 homes at the same time without either doing a bridge loan or without either renting their current place, right? A lot of folks they have great income, but great income doesn't mean you could carry 2 large house payments at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes that debt to income falls into place there. A lot of that depends on interest rates, which we can show you with more, market trends. Again, as of March, April 2025, rates are kind of floating in the mid 6s again, right? We were in the mid 7s a year ago at this time. Now we're kind of in the mid 6s. So we've witnessed VA loans and some FHA loans and some government loans touch the high 5s this past week on Monday. Last Friday into Monday. Now lots of volatility today with the 10-year and the Treasury. So rates are trending back up a little bit, but just ride the roller coaster right now. It's going to be fine. It's all going to work out. But that's a little bit about financial planning and some market considerations. Kind of in conclusion, as we have a few more slides here, final thoughts and some takeaways. Angie and I talked for maybe 15 minutes before we went live here, and we had three really, strategic planning, market awareness, and professional guidance are kind of some of our takeaways we want you to take. But, the main takeaways that we have for you are, one, work with professionals. Two, consider a bridge loan. That's part of working with professionals. You need to strategically position yourself to win that offer. You don't need practice. If you have that home, one of the worst things to do is lose that offer because you didn't listen to us, right? Unfortunately, sometimes that takes that. Sometimes a client will go, man, if we would have just listened to you, we would have won the offer. And then guess what happens? You don't lose the second offer, you win it, right? So we're here to help you on that. And then Angie, what were a few of the other takeaways we wanted to make sure that we hit with them today? One was the bridge loan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So on that note, I want people to know that if they're looking at moving up, or if they're currently a homeowner and you're looking at considering getting a home that more fits with your lifestyle today, you have more options than you did the very first time you purchased.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a great way to know that you have a team here that can kind of lay out 1, 2, maybe 4 options side by side and say, okay, how risky is this one? How does this one make you feel? How does this work with your timing and your dollars? Which one is the winning scenario? When we pick the winning scenario, then we're going to look at a calendar and we're going to look at where do we make this happen? So I want you to know that you guys can use us in your research phase. Use us in your research phase and your what if phase, because that's kind of a great time if there's anything that needs to happen with that debt to income ratio, Rob can give you some of those answers and be very specific as far as don't touch this one, attack this one, leave this one alone, attack this one, but don't close them. There's specific things that you can do. And on that same note, if we're talking about the what if timeline and it's down later in the year, it's not right now, I don't want to bother you, bother me, because I can also coach you on, hey, these few items can actually help us increase the sales price. It may cost $5,000 to do, but what if we increase the price by 10? Maybe it costs 20 to do, but we increase the price by 40, right? We'll look at very strategic things. So I want you to know that you have more options. And I want you to know that you can use us now as your partners during that research and what if phase. We want to be your team and we want to help you make those decisions.
Yeah, definitely. Don't be scared of it. This is our next to last slide. Okay. And the schedule of consultation says it best, right? It's free, right? We're not charging you by the minute. We're gonna do a consultation with you. We're gonna talk through your scenario, your goals, what you're looking to do. We could always do a joint conversation. Most of the time, Angie will have conversations with clients and refer them over to us, or vice versa. And that's what we're here to help you do. It's my job is not. My friends, my college friends, Angie, from 25, 26 years ago, always say, Rob, what's it like being in sales all the time? You're in sales. I'm like, no, I'm an educator. I've never been in sales. I've always been an educator my entire career, because part of helping you obtain a mortgage, not selling you. I'm not selling you anything. I'm helping you obtain a mortgage. And as part of helping you obtain a mortgage, while Angie's helping you obtain that home, is we are both educating you, which is why we're here tonight, right? It's why we're here right now. We're educating you on what it takes to win the offer and what it takes on getting in the home. And there is a formula for it, right? There is a winning formula, if you will, that allows you to do that. And please don't do it alone. I'm telling you, it's the real estate industry and the real estate world can be a big, mean, cruel world sometimes. And it's good to have friends and people that you can rely on. So schedule that consultation, get the advice. You know where to contact Angie. You know where to contact me. And that is kind of our last slide for this evening at 54 minutes and 30 seconds.
Damn.
Basically, thanks for listening. And I don't see any questions lining up here, but we've had, definitely upwards of 10 viewers throughout part of the process here. So if you have been viewing on some of our other platforms, you have all of our contact information. Feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk to you. We're happy to set that consultation. If you are watching this back on replay, you know where to find us as well. So, and Angie, any parting thoughts?
No, I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate you, the viewer, the future homeowner in your perfect lifestyle place, giving us a ring, giving us a message, and let us be part of your team. Let us be part of your team to get you to the finish line, smiling and feeling super confident about the whole process.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. And like I said, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you joining us this evening, and hope you have a great rest of your week and spring. So we will be together soon. And Angie, I will talk to you here soon as well.
Perfect. Look forward to helping.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.